Hey guys, it's Sophia from Logline, and recently I had the pleasure of interviewing Julianna Joy, and here's that interview right now. Hope you guys enjoy.
Too.
Nice to meet you as well. I have to say that I'm a great fan, a big fan of your music. I think you're really great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I feel like I have to compliment you. I love your room. I was gonna
Oh,
say right
thank
second
you.
that, but
Thank you. Okay. So, who would you say inspired you to make music and go into the music industry?
well, it's funny. So this is something I've wanted to do since I was in second grade, probably. It's like
Hmm.
one of those, like dream careers that you have as a kid. Like
Right.
everybody wanted to be like a doctor or like a firefighter. For me, it was being a musician, and I think it's literally based off of the fact that I was obsessed with Taylor Swift.
Yes.
So,
Oh.
I mean, even now, I still love her to death. But I think it was like 2009 was when I was in second grade, and that was when Fearless was going on, and that's
Right.
when I got obsessed with her. And so I asked for a guitar for Christmas, because I wanted to like be able to be like her. And then
Hmm.
my dad, just knowing that I was gonna be a musician just by like the way that I was so adamant about wanting a guitar, and it all started right there.
Yeah. So your first instrument was guitar.
Question, yes, guitar was my first instrument. I started learning it when I moved to Chicago because I was originally born in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
And then I learned piano like a year later, and those are like my two main instruments now.
So tell us kind of about your story about moving out to Los Angeles and record deals, anything.
Yeah, okay. So I started writing music when I was in fifth grade.
Hmm.
Um, I mostly did it just to be like Taylor Swift. But then, as I started writing through middle school and I saw like how it kind of helped me get through some things,
Hmm.
because I did struggle a lot like in school.
Right.
I realized that I kind of wanted to make it a career. So when I was in eighth grade, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this like super seriously now. I want to do
Uh-huh.
this. It's not just like a scapegoat for me. It was like, I needed to do this.
Yeah.
And so when I was 15, I got into the Grammy camp. It's a camp hosted by the Grammy Foundation, um, for young musicians across the United States. Um, and I got into the track as a music business student. So I basically flew to California. I was the like second youngest person attending the camp. Everybody else was like a junior and senior, and I just finished my freshman year of high school.
Right.
And I got like really disappointed that I wasn't in the songwriting or singing track. But like
Right.
I completely get it now, and I'm so glad that I was a part of the music business track because going to the camp, I learned so much about the industry right before I went. I met
Right.
so many amazing people, like some who are still probably some of my closest friends. Like it was just an overall really good experience, and it definitely like affirmed for me that this was what I wanted to do. And so when I got back from my camp, my mom was like, "Yo, I kind of know this person," and
Oh.
and so she told me that one of her colleagues, college roommates, was Jamie Soretta, who is my now label rep,
Right.
and that he was the president of or I guess co-president now. He was the co-president of Big Deal Music Publishing in LA, and that if I ever wanted to send anything his way or talk to him, that that I could and
Yeah,
I
to reach
should.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I kind of was like, yeah, like I want to do that, but let's wait a year until I feel comfortable with my writing, which
Hmm.
is exactly what happened. Now, the August after that, I think that was August 2018, is when I first had my first call with Jamie.
Hmm.
And it basically was kind of set up as a like a phone call just to talk about like, okay, like this, you want to be a musician? Like, here's some advice. But then at the end of the call, he was like, if you're ever in LA, like let us know. We'll set you up with some of our writers,
Right.
because we do think you have like a lot of talent. And so I was like, bet. And I
I'm
flew
down.
right. I flew out of Chicago and I flew to LA in January of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
and I met Dylan Gardner, who is the sweetest kid alive. I love that man so much. And we recorded Nevermind on my birthday that
Oh, wow.
that year. I actually didn't like Nevermind when I first wrote it, but then I
Oh.
brought it into the studio thinking like, there was a way to fix it when I wrote
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right.
I thought it had potential, but I just didn't like how it turned out the way that I did it.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then Dylan made me fall in love with it because he worked his magic and made it like amazing. And
Oh.
so we basically spent like a whole day in the studio, and then I flew back home. 3 weeks later, my mom gets a call from Jamie, and he's like, I can't stop thinking about this song. Like, I want you to do a whole EP. And I'm sitting there and I'm like,
It's
yes,
happening. It's
I will.
happening.
Happening, I will do it. And so I flew out again in April while we were talking through like negotiations and stuff, and we
Mm-hmm.
recorded Cherry Bomb in April. And then I actually lived in LA all of July that year.
Mm-hmm.
And we just recorded the whole EP. I think it took 2 weeks for it to be completely like ready to be mixed and mastered. That took a few months just because everything else went kind of crazy. But then we released the EP in February of this year.
Right.
Feels
Yeah.
like literally forever ago. This year just feels like a giant blur.
I know. I feel like I've been in quarantine for like 2 years or something.
I know. It feels never ending. Like right before quarantine started, this is a little off topic, but I was
Mhm.
at a Holy Child concert, and then like
Yeah.
a week later, everything shut down, and I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute,
That's not right. That's
that's
not
not
right.
possible. No, I
Okay,
can't.
so speaking about writing, so
Yeah,
how would you like walk us through your creative process? Do you write lyrics first and then melodies? Do you write melodies first and lyrics?
it's funny. So most of the time, I write the lyrics first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's pretty much how the entire EP had started. Um, like I wrote Poseidon in the middle of downtown Boston in a CVS.
Oh.
Because I was just thinking of lyrics and stuff, because I felt like super spiritual with the rain and stuff, because it was pouring rain that day.
Uh-huh.
And it started with the lyrics, but I actually wrote the melody entirely while I was there as well without a piano. And I basically salvaged everything from the voice memos that I had on my old phone. And when I got home the next day, wrote the whole thing. But then, like, for example, like Mouths took 3 months because I had all the lyrics, but I just could not figure out for the life of me what I wanted it to sound like.
Yeah.
But as of lately, when I go into studios now and I'm like challenging myself, so I'm trying to write to track instead of just writing and waiting for them to build a track off of what I've written.
Mm-hmm.
And other times I've just been working on doing instrumental stuff just to see if I like that part
Right.
of the
And then
process as much as I like the lyric part.
and then you can just build off of whatever you have.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. Um, so which one of your songs was your favorite to write and record?
Oh my god.
It sounds like
Well,
oh, it's a hard one.
yeah, I think released, it would definitely be Carbon Copies,
hmm
because I had so much fun in the studio that day when Dylan and I were working on it. Like, oh my god, it was so fun. Like, every time he would add like a different element, like I'd be like yes, this is perfect, and I would go like super crazy.
Yeah.
But like also releasing it and seeing like how many people liked it, because I was kind of worried because it's a very like passive aggressive song. I was
Yeah.
like, people are gonna like be like, well, I mean, it is a little mean, but actually I like it. It's okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a great song. I love that song.
Thank you. Yeah. But unreleased, I wrote this song with Juan Ariza, called Orange back in
hmm
March. And it's basically, we wrote it about midsummer, like trying to capture like what Midsummer, the
Oh,
movie directed by Ari Aster, felt like as
yes.
a song. And so we like sat in the studio like all day. It was the first time I'd ever met him,
hmm
but we just like cranked out this amazing piece that like, takes in all these rare elements of midsummer. And the product, I actually had a panic attack while we were in the studio because of how intense it felt to me. Because
Wow, that's
Midsummer is like one of my
crazy.
favorite movies, but it's also like, a very intense movie, and you have to be in a
Yes.
certain headspace to watch it.
Hmm.
And so writing a song like about it and like having
Yeah.
to immerse myself in that when I was not in that headspace at all was so rough. But it turned out great, so I went through the pain for for good reason.
Yeah. Is there a possibility we're ever gonna hear it?
Oh, for sure. I want it to be released so bad. I want to get Ari Aster to direct it as well because, it's a song based off of his art, so I feel like it's only
Right.
fair if he could, create art of it. But I don't know with the state of where my music is now, because I'm working on a new project.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't necessarily fit in with it. It might just have to be like either a standalone single or like the end of an album or something, because it can't mix with like alternative pop. Like it's got to be its own,
Yeah, I see
you
what
know.
you mean.
Mhm.
So speaking of your like kind of genre, alt pop, who would you say that you write your music for? Do you have like a certain a group of people in mind when you write?
It's like I usually write songs for the person it's about. Like
Hmm.
kind of like I view my songwriting as the most vulnerable I can get and the most honest I can get, because I can say stuff in songs like I really don't think I could ever say out loud.
Right.
Because I think when I write music, it has to come from like a really emotional and genuine place. And
Right.
so I always view it as like, okay, if I was in a movie and they were here and they were like listening to me sing this song to them, like what would I want it to say?
Right.
So it usually is for that person. But as of lately, I really want to make like the point with my music that I'm like pretty much like everybody else. Like I
Hmm. I'm just one of you guys. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just one of you guys. Like I want to come off as like approachable and accessible. I love Billie Eilish, but I get
Hmm.
so intimidated and scared by, like how cool she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
like
totally.
that's something like I admire about her, because she's so comfortable being like, yeah, I know, I'm that bitch. But I'm not, like I kind of view myself as like a dork, and I don't want to
Yeah.
come off in a way that's not, like if somebody met me in the coffee shop, I don't want them to be intimidated by like how I'm dressed or like how I come off or like,
Hmm.
anything that I achieve in my career. I just kind of want to just be
Right.
friends with everybody. And
Yeah,
so
that's great. That's really great.
yeah, and so like writing music to kind of fit anybody's narrative, where it's like, it's kind of specific to one person and the person it's about will know exactly what I mean.
Hmm.
But like, so many people connect with Poseidon even though nobody knows what it means,
Right. Hmm.
because it's just like a secret message, but yet they still find a way to apply it because
Hmm.
I am just I'm just writing for
Yeah.
people.
I think that also that was what really drew me to your music when I first started listening, is that I found it to be very relatable, and I was like, even though it's not maybe what you thought it would be, I put it in my like saw it through my own eyes, and I thought that was really cool. And it's like not something a lot of people do with their music, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that part. Like I have synesthesia, and so most of my songs come with a color in my head and like kind of like a vibe. And
Hmm.
so my mom told me that she always pictured like Poseidon to be like in a coffee shop, and like it's a conversation that you're having in a coffee shop. And
Hmm.
I don't get that vibe at all, but it's interesting how she can apply it in that way and see it for herself in that view, where it's like, oh, like my sister has a completely different perspective. Like if my cats could speak English, they would probably have a different perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to hear like how people interpret it and like, what they think it's about and all that.
Yeah, it definitely that Poseidon specifically gives me like just like rainy day vibes, like you said earlier, but like writing it, you wrote it in a CVS when it was raining outside. It's like that's the perfect song to listen to when like you're kind of just in a mellow mood and it's showering outside. That's like the vibe I get from it, at least.
No, yeah, that's pretty much my vibe. I kind of view it as like you're the only person on I said person. I view it as the only person on a cruise ship.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely really interesting.
Yeah. It's like you're alone and everybody's like you expect to see everybody everywhere, but you're just like
There's no one.
solitude, and it's a very uncomfortable one because who's driving the boat?
Yeah. Okay. So, what is your opinion on the music industry so far? Do you have like a favorite part, a least favorite part?
I mean, I don't view it as bad. I don't know. I guess there's this really big stigma, I think, about the music industry as a
Mm-hmm.
whole, at least in small town vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think that the music industry really can accept and hold everybody who wants to be in it.
Right.
Because there's so much outside of just being a songwriter and just being an artist and just being like, a manager. It's like the more and more that I like go into the music industry and become like a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
um that sounds really cocky. I mean, more
No,
so
yeah.
like a huge part of it is in like I am touching more people than I thought I ever would.
Right.
um it's like there's so many roles and there's so many things that you can do, and so there's always this idea that like, oh, you should give up on like your music industry dreams because it's really hard to get in. It's like, actually, if you apply yourself and you want to do it, like, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want
Yeah.
to be a musician, go out to LA, go do it. If you want to, you know like, one of the coolest jobs I've found is a music supervisor, which is someone who works in the industry, and works alongside like um, TV channels like Netflix or
Uh-huh.
um, YouTube movies, or they get like privately hired for movies, and they actually
Mm-hmm.
pick all of the music for the movies and stuff
That's
like
really
that.
interesting.
It's a
That's
very cool job, and honestly, I wish I could do it because I'm pretty good at that. It's just like there's so many different jobs, and
so
so
many layers, would you
yeah,
say?
there's so many layers and there's so much going on that it's like, if you want to be in it, just do it.
Just
But
go for it.
yeah, and because like I've had that part of my brain kind of broken down, being like, okay, yeah, anybody can be a part of it. I keep falling in love with the industry just because there's so much going on, and I've never met anyone negative in the industry yet.
That's good. That's
That,
definitely good.
yeah, I've heard some things, but I will say everybody that I've ever met in the industry has been fantastic.
Oh,
And I
that's
love
great.
everybody. Yeah.
Okay, so who is an artist that you would love to collaborate with? Would it be like Taylor Swift, as you mentioned before, like Billie Eilish?
Lord, I
Oh,
love that woman. I love everything about her. I pray that one day I can even be in her presence. It would be an honor.
she's incredible. I love her music.
Oh my God, I know. It's so great. And like the fact that she wrote like Pure Heroine when she was 16,
Mm-hmm.
like really helped me accept like that this was going to be like my life, because I've always kind of just been comfortable not being the center of attention and like all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And her writing Pure Heroine from the perspective of like, yeah, I'm 16, I got big out of nowhere and now I have to adjust to it, like,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still
Yeah.
going to try to hold my roots. Like that really helped me kind of move out and get into the headspace of like, yeah, like I'm an adult now, this is what I have to do.
Yeah, I think that her whole message is really inspiring and like important for a lot of younger generations. Yeah.
Yeah, I L3, where are you at? We need you.
Yeah. We need a new album. Where is it?
We literally do. I love the people that are like Lord decides when you're going into the next phase of your life.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
someone
yeah.
decides, like, where is L3? L3 will solve COVID. No cap.
Honestly, definitely. Somebody should get on that.
I know. I want it so bad. It's so mwah.
That would solve just all the world's problems.
Oh my God, I know.
Okay. So, after Corona's all said and done with, after Lord releases her third album, what venue would you want to play at? Like,
Oh my God. I was looking at that question and I had so many thoughts like run through my head because I'm like, damn, there's so many like amazing places that like I'd love to be at. But
Right.
I came to the conclusion that if I ever got to be that big, I'd love to play Soldier Field. I've
What
seen
was that?
that's like the stadium like in downtown Chicago. I
Oh,
just want to
I
play it because I've seen Taylor Swift so many times there.
hmm.
And like I've always had a good experience there being in the audience. So like the idea that I could have more fun on stage and everyone's there for
Wow.
me kind of just feels like this like ball of light.
Right. Yeah, and then you would kind of come like full circle almost.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
wow. That would be such a cool moment.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah. I also wish I could play Woodstock. I know it's not a thing, but like I wish I could.
That'd be very
My
cool.
favorite part of the 60s and 70s with classic rock was just Woodstock.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you've got some projects coming up. Do you have like any new singles coming out? Is there gonna be an album?
um, I can't say much, but I
Mhm.
will be releasing music by the end of this year. I'm assuming.
Yay!
I'm hoping. We're finishing this next project when I get back to LA. We've been
Hmm.
working for about 2 months, and we've been filming all of it. So I don't know
Wow.
what that'll look like just yet, but we've been working really hard. I've been working with Teddy Geiger,
Hmm.
and John Ryan and Evan Boitas and Max Duval and oh my God, who am I forgetting? Danny Parker. How could I forget Danny? I love Danny. It's like all of these incredible songwriters from Big Deal, and I'm really excited with how it has all turned out.
That's really exciting. And if you decide to publish a documentary with all the footage you have, I will definitely watch it. So,
Plan right now is to kind of film this next year of like artist development because
the
that was like my
process.
yeah. I actually like the whole reason I wanted to start filming it was kind of the reason I said earlier is like there's so much stigma around the music industry and what you can
Right.
and can't do in it, and so it's like if I film a documentary about me and like my process of going through it and seeing like all of these different layers of what happens with an artist who really has no physical like performance aspect. Like I haven't really done much outside of just get a publishing deal, but
Right.
if I can show any sort of like career that anybody would be like, oh my
Hmm.
God, I want to do that, then
Yeah,
I've basically done exactly what I want. you
that's
know
perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And so just for like funsies, do you have a go-to shower song, karaoke song, anything?
It's weird. I don't really listen to music in the shower. I listen to podcasts.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to the PBS NewsHour every morning when I shower because I feel like it's my job to stay educated these days.
Yeah, of course.
But karaoke wise, Your Love Is My Drug by Kesha.
Oh, yeah.
Definite go to. Love
Yes.
her. Love
Oh,
that song.
oh, Kesha.
Mwah. Oh, I know, right? That woman. Mwah.
Oh, oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit down and talk with me, have a conversation.
Oh my God, yeah. No, thank you for giving me a platform. This is my first actual like interview since I've been signed and like been like
Yay!
artist. So
Thank
I'm
you
a
so much
yeah, thank
for
you.
bye.